ओके, क्या करना क्या है आज? ओके, वी आर लाइव.
Yes, yes. We are live. Okay, so let's people join. Hello, everyone.
Hey everybody, I hope you can see us and hear us. Just give a shout out. So, this is absolutely impromptu. We don't know what we are here for. So, we'll see how that goes.
Why
I
don't you
want to just get a
why don't you
confirmation
why
if
don't
you
you share
can
the link?
all hear us.
Yeah, very much. I can.
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thank you so much for confirming. So, welcome everyone to another session of the What Lies Beneath Ask Me Anything series. This time it is not Ask Me Anything, it's Ask Us Anything because I have three people whom I absolutely adore who are, uh, no less than heroes for me. And,
Baap re.
I was discussing this with Naveen a few days ago that I used to wonder what it would be like interacting with the celebrities on YouTube, and today I am fortunate to host them. So this is absolutely amazing. Well, let me
Vijay,
just take a moment to absorb this because this is indeed a fanboy moment for me. I want to announce uh, upfront that Raghav is having some difficulties with his internet, but he is still there. He has adjusted his work timings and is making himself available for this. So thank you, Raghav, for doing this. Um, so the three gentlemen on the screen do not need any introduction. On the screen are our dear friends Mukesh Otwani, Naveen Khunteta, and Raghav Pal. Thank you so much, guys. Three of the most incredible
baap
people
re.
on uh,
Bridget,
on
this is
YouTube with a
this.
combined subscribership of more than 500,000 subscribers, which is absolutely fabulous. As we can already see that Raghav is having some internet difficulties, but I think we will sort that out in due course. Um, but before I get started, I want to congratulate Mukesh on the 100,000 subscribers. Mukesh, incredible
Thank you.
achievement. Congratulations. And we already know that Raghav and Naveen are in the 100K club already and are hitting milestone after milestone. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what is more special is not just the subscriber count, but the impact that you guys are bringing on the lives of thousands of testers, me being one of them. And, I was an internet or YouTube illiterate until sometime, until the time I discovered Naveen's channel, and then that's how my journey with learning from YouTube began. And then I discovered Mukesh and Raghav's channel, and I thought, oh my god, this is absolute gold. So thank you guys for doing whatever you're doing, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brajesh. Brajesh, as you mentioned, it's not the 100K, it's like 100 K people who are, following and watching. So sometimes it's not about views and the count, it's all about the people. So that's what it's motivating all of us, including you. So hope we will see you soon in the list. And I know I'm the third in the list, but yeah, it feels good.
Uh, well, like I said, I mean, it's the these numbers are absolutely great, and I know that there is a lot of effort that has gone in. But what is more incredible is the amount of lives that you guys have touched. And every day, almost every day, we keep seeing messages thanking you guys for the value that you have been adding to everybody's life. People getting successful in interviews and jobs, and they want to thank you, express their gratitude. So it is absolutely awesome. So
Thank you.
yeah, so let me begin. So since we are talking about YouTube, I want to know upfront. And since we call this what lies beneath, so we see these videos coming out, we see, people joining, people learning. So what is the kind of effort that goes behind these videos? We'll start with you, Naveen.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Brajesh, for bringing us together once again on your channel. And TTC is doing amazingly great, no doubt about it. And you are an amazing host, and thank you so much for inviting us. But yeah, so video efforts on video, that's a lot of good things that we do. But behind the story is totally different, because we have to prepare the content, then we have to edit it, then we have to make sure that okay, whatever we are delivering from our side is absolutely right or not. How exactly we always make sure that okay, that people should not get the wrong concept. Now it's a social responsibility as well as the followers responsibility on us, that people are expecting a lot. So no doubt about it, we have to put a lot of efforts. No doubt, like Mukesh and Raghav and you people also doing great with respect to video creation, content creation, then script we have to write. Then sometime what happens that we're preparing two or three videos and then we feel that okay, no, it's the voice is not good, the content is not good. Oh, I missed that scenario, I missed that thing. Let's prepare one thing, and then we could not record it properly, some voice cancellation we could not make it, and a lot of things we have to think about it initially. But nowadays I think we have better tools, we have funds also somewhere, so we can utilize those things to prepare the good content. But yeah, the journey was fantastically good and learned a lot of things from Raghav and Mukesh, and because they were the oldest YouTubers in test automation, testing things. So no doubt about it, I learned a lot of things from these people.
What about you, Mukesh?
Yeah. So yes, as Naveen mentioned, so we just want to highlight. Say, if you see a 10 minutes video on the screen, it takes 3 to 4 hours of effort in the back end. So we have to prepare the content. We have to take some examples which should look easy for the viewers or for the audience. And the most important part, this noise cancellation. So many of background noise which comes while recording, that takes a lot of efforts. Sometimes we have to record the complete video because maybe dogs are barking in the background, maybe some other noise are coming. And the main part is like editing, making thumbnails, title, description. I know you're also doing the same, so you can feel the pain. So making videos of 10 minutes takes 3 to 4 hours of effort. And Naveen also made one blooper, so sometimes we have to retake one video multiple times. But yeah, as we enjoy the process, so we don't feel tiring this process. But yeah, it takes time. Earlier when I used to record, it used to take like a lot of time because I was not using any tools or any specific softwares for that. But now we are investing some amount of the recording tools, softwares. So now process is little easier, but yes, it's fun to create
Yeah.
videos.
Awesome. I'm sure that Raghav would also have similar experiences. Unfortunately, his internet has been really shaky today, and that's why he's coming in and going out. He will connect as soon as possible, but we would like to continue with this one. The
Now,
first
Brajesh,
question that
we
I have
also want
for
to hear from you. So you have been into
my
YouTube
experiences,
from
well,
last 3 months, I guess
well,
six
okay,
months, right?
yeah, so I am probably the youngest of the lot here, closing in on 2,000 subscribers, maybe. That's for the Test Chat channel. Well,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. Talking about effort, I host the Tester Speak series of interviews, and for every host or every guest that comes on my show. So it is a 1 hour interview, but for that 1 hour, there is at least 5 hours of preparation that I have to do, because I have to research them, what they have been doing, what they have been writing, where they have been speaking, if they have content on YouTube. Like for example, all three of you have appeared on Tester Speak, and you have so much content on YouTube itself, and then you have your own websites. So I have to research that. I have to look for posts, look at your views, understand what is going on, and then prepare the questions accordingly, so that you know it, it establishes a connect with the audience. So there is definitely a lot of effort. While it may look like a 1 hour interview, there is a lot of effort. So like you said, just don't go by the number of minutes on the video. there is there is a lot that goes on in the background, but it's fun. It doesn't feel boring. It feels very interesting, because there is a lot that you can learn in this whole process. And you're absolutely right, the new tools and support, for example, the test chat is supported by Mulya, so that makes life a little easy in terms of doing whatever we are trying to do. So yeah.
Yes.
So unfortunately, Raghav is still trying, and his connection is still shaky. We will try to get him back as soon as possible. So I would like to begin by asking you, what is the state of test automation right now? What are your views, Naveen?
Hmm. Okay, so state of test automation right now, I think it's going good. Earlier, we were thinking that I think we also discussed once, Brijesh, you remember that it's not a bubble, first of all, that people are thinking that, okay, yeah, this bubble will burst out one day. This test automation is nothing. It's a stupid thing. Why people are investing time and money on these things? Why companies and management is spending time on that? It's not like that. If it is a bubble, it would have been bursted already. So it's not like that. It's really doing good. I think it has a great future. It gives a different dimension, the direction to all the QA people who can set up their skill set and then grow in their career in a different direction altogether. They can talk to developers, they can discuss technical things, they can learn the tools and technologies, and we can justify that, okay, yes, that is like, it's all about software engineering, learning the tools and technologies and implementing the same thing for the easiness, for the saving the manual hours. Otherwise, the 7 days of regression testing with 4 people and then same repetitive tasks that you are doing it, and those 1,000 test cases you're executing on 4 different browsers, it's like tedious job, and that we really don't prefer that in that case all the time. So people are growing, people are going, reaching at the moon and Mars, and then we are still, talking about boundary value analysis, or still talking about such basic things. I think we have to raise the bar high. So I think test automation is doing great, no doubt about it, and then it's a great future. That's why there are so many communities, so many dev communities. Google, Microsoft, all the major vendors, they are supporting us in terms of supporting in terms of tools, and then we have a lot of good collaboration happened with the Selenium from last couple of, especially in last decade, where Google came into the picture with Chrome driver binaries, and then Firefox binaries, and Apple is also supporting with a lot of good tools, and open source communities are supporting with the test automation. So I think I can see a great future for test automation. But one thing I would like to mention, that our roots are testing. We are from testing background, so it's very very important that we should not forget our QA roots. That's very important. So that is my take on test automation.
That precisely sums up what even I think of. And you're right that we have had this conversation not just once but many a times. So Mukesh, coming to you, I mean, how uh, as a newbie should I start my test automation journey? What should be
Okay.
my approach?
Okay. So if you could have asked me this question 5 years back, I would have given a different answer. But I just want to highlight one important point now. Like, if somebody wants to start a test automation, they're literally very confused because there are a lot of tools in the market now. If
Yeah.
you asked me this question 6 years back, I could have said, okay, start with Selenium and these are the tools, learn it. But now if somebody will ask me, I want to start with web automation, they're really confused because they have test project catalog, Selenium, blah, blah, blah. And now they're confused what to start, Cypress and Puppeteer and so many tools. So again, as Naveen mentioned, that automation is like, okay, let me take one good example here. So if you ask me which phone you have to buy, so if you go with Android, you have Oppo, Vivo, you have Mi, you have Redmi, right? There's so many mobiles, but at the end of the day, they are Android phones. Okay, little bit UI changes you will find, and little bit functionality. But at the end of the day, they are Android phones. That's not the case with iPhones. That's a different story. So same goes with automation now. So if somebody have to start automation, okay, again there are two I would say ways to start. One is forcefully, where management or their manager will ask them to learn automation and start implementation. In that case, they don't have any choice. They have to learn, they have to implement by hook or by crook. But if
Yeah.
somebody wants to start with like passion or due to their interest, for them, then so many ways to learn automation nowadays. Okay, even if they want to start through blogs, videos, Udemy courses, it's up to them. But in the last live also we discussed, right, start with the right resources, right, with the right I will say community. We should not misguide them. Okay, like I have seen couple of blogs, they have some, I will not say completely wrong information, but it's incomplete. So if somebody wants to start automation, start from the right resources. And if you remember, I mentioned in the last live chat, it takes 40 hours of effort to learn automation tool, not the mastery, but yes, 40 hours is enough to at least understand the automation process, automation tools, the life cycles, everything. After that, it takes like 6 months, 1 year until you start practicing or start working on that. So again, start with any programming language and then you start your tools.
Well, that is pretty well put. I mean, indeed, if a few years ago, if somebody would have asked me what about test automation, I would have given the same answers. But even now, at this stage, even myself, having been in the industry for almost 2 decades, get confused. Okay, which way to go? What is the
Yes,
direction? There are so many things. People are talking about so many tools, and the interesting fact is that everyone tries to sell their tool claiming that it is the
exactly.
best in the market. Now if you go by one particular tool and say, oh, this is the best because they say so, and if you do not verify the information, then you fall into that trap. And you're absolutely right that there are websites which provide information which is not accurate or not complete. So it's important that as testers we verify that information
Yes.
before we take the next step. So very rightly put. Now, Naveen, coming back to you. So I have started my testing career and I have come all the way. I've spent 10 years,
Mhm.
okay, in the industry. Okay, I have done a lot of manual testing, and people have told me about automation, so I have tried my hands on a few tools here and there. So, what is my roadmap? What do I do next at 10 years?
Yeah, see, my advice to people who have already crossed 10 years and not spend much amount of time on automation, you were totally into a non-automation testing background, like manual testing or typical functional testing that we do. That's really good that you have at least experience on testing and you know that how to test the application. You just need to focus upon your new start, that what should I do now after, when you talk to other people in the market and when your juniors are there and then 5 years or 6 year experience people are there. This is the way industry works. This is the way market works. You cannot say that, okay, yeah, the test automation is not my cup of tea, but that's fine. But then you have to be in that shallow only. Then you have to, if you really want to work with different people, different new people who are coming, and then new tools and technologies people are learning, and then you have to stand with those people. So I think it's a right time, very high time. You're already late, and then it's already a little late. Now you have to start basic learning of automation. Just think about it. You have the experience. You know software, how exactly it works. You know software development life cycle. You know software testing life cycle, how exactly it works, and where exactly this test automation things will fit into. So I think I hope you can hear me, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, okay, sorry. So I think this is very much needed. So start with the basic things. I would advise you, after 10 years, people will expect a little bit, design things from your side. How exactly you are good in, UI automation, API automation, backend. How will you give the advice for the design point of view in terms of performance testing or performance engineering? People will expect that level of maturity from you. Other than that, I would advise you to that, okay, think about the design architecture point of view, that okay, if I, let's say I'm joining a team where 20 team members are there and we have to develop a test automation framework for the entire application, for the entire org. In that case, people will expect you are the senior person. Now you are maybe SDET 3 or maybe manager, so people will expect a lot from you. These days everything is agile, and these are like everybody is on the same hierarchy. Nobody is manager as such, like people management kind of thing is not there in the market these days. So you, in fact, if you're a 15-year experienced guy, also sometimes you have to write the code, you have to execute the code, you have to set up the CI/CD pipelines and Jenkins and everything. You have to contribute for the cloud and everything. So you should understand the tools, technologies very well, right? And then you should minimize the same thing that, okay, yeah, my team is taking 7-8 days of time to do the execution, and then we have only 15 days of a sprint, only 2 weeks of a sprint, and then how will you cope up with the sprint timelines in that case? So if you are totally stuck on the manual testing or the typical way of doing that we are doing it, execution of the manually all the test cases in Zira or Quality Center, then it will take time. Better to automate. So learn about tools, technologies, and then you have to do in that direction. I won't say that, okay, you really need to know very micro level details at how exactly these certain tools works in the industry. Might be possible that, okay, people won't ask such question at the time of interview when you switch. People will expect some maturity in terms of design, in terms of platform, in terms of cloud, in terms of CI/CD pipeline, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of test automation infrastructure or test environment infrastructure. I think we should focus upon that thing after 10 years.
Awesome. So I have a question here which is coming from Rahul Parwal, and I think it is important at this juncture that we discuss this question. How do you learn about tools or automation? References that you follow, your approach to enhancing your automation skills. So, I want to know both of your opinion. So let's start with Mukesh. Mukesh.
Okay. So actually, we're lucky that we got to know these tools, technologies from your comments. Okay. So sometimes it's impossible to cover all the tools, technologies from our side. Like we can't implement each and every tool in our organization. So generally, I get to know the new tools, technologies, even the new keywords through the YouTube comments, through the LinkedIn chats, and the emails that I receive. After that, I keep searching about the tools of the technology, and that's how I get to know that these are the things which exist in the market, which we are not implementing or which we are not focusing. So that's how I got to know few tools and I implemented in my organization. So I will take one example of Selenium. I was not aware of what is Selenium a few years back, but one of my subscribers asked me, "Can you tell me something about Selenium?" I explored and found its combination of Docker with Kubernetes, where you can create runtime containers based on the number of tests that you want to run, and it will scale up and scale down automatically. So that is one of the example. Like this, we have tons of example which we get to know through the audience, and that's how we learn. We follow some YouTube channels, we attend these conferences. So anyways, from last 1.5 years we're not attending, but yes, we used to attend conferences every year. I used to attend Selenium conference with different speakers, and likewise I'm attending right now more of the sessions from the DevOps side, because from test automation kind of I know in and out now, but still I'm new to DevOps field. So I'm attending more conferences, meetups, and online webinars. So that's the approach which I follow. And see, when it comes to DevOps, I can't implement each and everything because that requires the infra setup. But still, through AWS, I'm setting the complete end-to-end pipeline. So that's how I keep updated myself. Sometimes when we discuss, like me and Naveen were discussing yesterday. So sometimes Naveen tells new things, sometimes I tell. So that's how I keep myself updated.
Awesome. Naveen, what are your thoughts about this?
So the question from Rahul, right? That how do you learn
Yes.
about tools and automation references that we follow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we always, it's not about that we know everything already. It's frankly speaking, there are much better people. In fact, I can see in my group also, in test chat also, there are good people, no doubt about it. We have Mahesh is there, and then you people are there. Like a lot of good people are there who are actually, every day that Dimpy is there. A lot of people, they are doing great work. My approach is always that, okay, fine, you should have a zeal to learn. What I do that, okay, yeah, this is my target, this is my milestone, that okay, for next 15 days I have to learn about JMeter or Gatling. Then I'll spend time, I'll schedule it, and then daily basis, some blogs or official documentation, I follow that. And I always follow the right resources. But the problem in the market is that because of YouTube or because of blogging, there are so many I would say, the wrong information people are passing. I really don't want to take their names, but when I see that, okay, no, this is totally wrong, and I always discuss with Mukesh also sometimes, dude, this is not the right way of doing the things. So then we followed, okay, fine, this is let's investigate from our side only, and then let's design it, let's write the code, and let's see how exactly it works, and then we will start a series on that. Okay, so and then we will do that. So it motivates me to look into more and more about their official documentation, or maybe some really good series on YouTube, or maybe on some courses which are available, or some really good blogs. And if you're really going with the problem in on the YouTube is that if you see that some really good people are there, but the content is very less. If you talk about some really good tools available in the market, so you have to investigate, you have to search for certain tools, you have to search for conferences where people are actually doing some research and POC, they will always show over there. So that is my learning criteria whenever I want to learn any new automation skills or something like that. And then whatever you are learning, please try to learn, you know, as much as possible. If someone is asking you that, okay, yeah, how exactly you will do it, for example, in Selenium or any automation tool, you should be able to give the answer for that. That is called, from my side, it's called learning. So I should not stuck no, yeah. And I always feel bad that, okay, oh, I could not able to give the answer for that. Then it's a great improvement that, okay, I have to follow a certain approach to improve that thing. Then I investigate, then I do that. So yeah, so learn from the people, no doubt about it, learn from the community. And you should be a very quick learner and keen observer that, okay, yeah, this person is talking about this particular tool, let me investigate about it, and then let's research on that.
So, as a follow up, there is a very interesting question from Shirish. Which YouTube channels Naveen, Mukesh, and Raghav follow to learn some of the new things related to automation?
I follow Raghav and Mukesh.
Naveen, you stole my answer.
you, you follow yourself.
No, I follow you and Raghav.
Okay.
Well,
So
the answer is, I know that, if Raghav was there, he would have also given a similar answer. And my answer is that I follow all three of them. So, it's best that you keep up with these guys. They are always spot on and up to date with upcoming technology. So, and
no,
if there is something different that you've noticed, then, you can obviously bring it to their notice, and they will,
no. I just
you
want to highlight few good channels also. Like I followed Hitesh Chaudhary. Not every time, but whenever I look for certain things, I generally find Hitesh Chaudhary, Java Brains, and Telesco Learning when I was learning Python, which is by Naveen Reddy. There's so many good Linux Academy courses that I have taken because I have a membership of Linux Academy. So whenever it comes to DevOps, instead of searching YouTube videos here and there, I go for a course in Linux Academy and then go through the complete course because they have a crisp course, like 3 hours, they will finish one topic, and you will get to know end to end with different examples. So whenever I get stuck for some particular things, I just randomly search on YouTube. I find some channels and I follow. So it's not some dedicated list, but yeah, these are the 3-4 channels which I follow very frequently. And for
Yeah, one
webinars,
thing.
yes,
Yeah, yeah, sure. Sorry. So one thing I would advise that whatever the channel or resources that you're following, either Udemy courses or any training, what I would prefer that whatever you're doing, please do it end to end. Do not leave
yes,
it in between. And second thing is that what exactly people they do that, okay, randomly they just pick the topic. Okay, today I'll do that. Oh, some really good video Naveen has put or Mukesh has put. Let me watch that and then I'll try to do that. No, please don't do that because you don't know the background of that particular tool as well. You don't know how to write the basic thing. You don't know how to create a basic class or project also in your Eclipse or IntelliJ. So you should know about it. And then suddenly I'm getting a message that, okay, I'm not able to do that. And then I ask a question that, okay, do you know how to launch the browser? He said, no, I'm not sure about it. Do you know how to write a basic code in Java? Then I'm not sure about it. So please do not write suddenly in coming because it looks good in the video because someone is writing the code in the video, and then you it looks good because we have that teaching quality that, okay, yeah, we will make you happy through our teaching skills, that's fine. But please don't get into immediately in between suddenly that, okay, yeah, this is something page object model directly I'm doing it in terms of framework designing, but I don't know what is Selenium and basics of basic things. So that will always a problematic, and then you are always, back to square, and then you won't be able to learn the things properly. So proper guidance and proper direction is very important. The proper sequence you have to follow to learn either any tools or any technologies or any programming language. It's not like directly I'm covering some very let's see, in terms of Java, I'm talking about collection API. People directly jump into collection API that they don't know the basics of Java as well. So that is like more problematic, I think, according to me.
I think that is an absolutely spot on answer, Naveen. Well, one thing that I have realized, and in watching the three of you do such cool stuff, I mean, if I have to really start anything from scratch, and if I do not know what it is, then mostly, Raghav has an answer, because his channel is called Step by Step Automation, or
Hmm.
Automation Step by Step. So he goes really deep from the very first step and then scales it up. So that is a good point of reference if in case you're confused. But Naveen is absolutely right that if you see something in the video, it may give you that momentary rush that, oh, I want to implement the same thing. But please do some background research. Look at the previous videos that Naveen has done on that particular item, so that you get some context. Without the context, if you just straight away jump into the content of that particular video, you might be left wondering what is going on. Okay, so the next question I have is for Mukesh. Mukesh, this is a classic question that I'm sure you must have got. I also get it. Which one to choose, Java or Python?
Okay. Yeah. So I had a video on this on my channel also, like which one should I go with? Should I go with Selenium with Java or should I go with Selenium with Python? So that video is only for Selenium perspective. But let me be little honest here. Okay. So if I show you one code of Python and if I show you one code of Java, okay, as an end user or as a newcomer, you will be able to understand a little bit of Java code because it speaks. Okay, if I ask you to read a Python code, if you have a list, you will see a bracket, then you'll see a set, then you will see a dictionary. So it's not that readable, first of all. But if you see the same code in Java, it's readable. You can see we have an add method, get method, close method, and some other methods, and you have array list set. So you can relate what's happening in the code. So you can learn, you can understand the code even after few months. But it's not the case with Python. I know it's very easy to learn few lines of code that you need to write, right? But when it comes to readability, I will still prefer Java. But when it comes to code complexity, Python is, I will say less complex. But in terms of readability, Java. Now, second thing depends on the purpose. Now, if you're only looking for the test automation perspective, I would go with Java. But if you look for the overall perspective, which includes my uh, automation with DevOps, then definitely Python, because Python fits into my requirement because I can use Python in both the areas, right? So before we talk about which programming language to choose, we should understand what exactly is my task, what exactly is my requirement. Based on that, I will definitely pick for different programming language. I can't use Java everywhere, and I can't use Python everywhere. Like if I talk about AI or ML, I'm not sure how AI ML work, but still I know Python is the best language for right data science. That's not the case with Java actually. So it's a mix. Okay, I have covered three different languages: JavaScript, Python, and Java. So it depends on my project. I keep switching different programming languages. So it's not only I will stick to always Java. I keep switching. Recently, I'm learning Go language for one of my project. We need Go language, so I'm still learning Go. It's similar to C and C++ that we have studied 11 years back. But yeah, again, I'm learning about pointers and everything.
Awesome. Thank you, Mukesh, for that one. Now, I want to switch subjects a bit, and I want to go towards the career side of things a little bit.
So now the
People
same question. What is your take on this? Because you also have like four different languages on your channel. See, like Java, Python, JavaScript.
Yeah, yeah, Naveen, interesting. Yeah, good thought. Naveen, what is your
I
take?
think Mukesh has already given the answer. Exactly same thing I have. And first, I won't prefer that learning a language is the only criteria. You should be, I think, either Java or Python or whatever, C sharp or whatever you take it. I think that's not the important thing. What matters is that in every programming language, the data structure and the algorithm that you are creating, how exactly you can optimize your code, that is very, very important. You are writing a shitty code in Java and the same code you are writing in Python also, that won't help you much. The Java languages, these are very, the languages are really good. The problem with not with the language, the problem sometimes with your code as well. How exactly the optimized code that you are writing it, that is very important. Java, Python, they are already certain setup rules are already there. right? Java is compile time is faster than compilers are always faster as compared to the interpreter at the runtime. So as compared to Python, Java is always fast. That's a misconception that okay, Python is faster than Java. It's not like that. But yeah, the no doubt about it, core readability point of view, I would always prefer Java. But language here seriously doesn't matter to me. Yeah, we all are habitual with the Java. That's why we are going with the Java. Another thing is that don't learn the things programming language only for interview point of view. Interview you can crack. I think method overloading, method overriding concept will remain same. It's a programming concept, not the Java concept, I think. So I think you should go with doesn't matter. And please don't give unnecessary false facts. I see in the community groups like yeah, Python is having a good package. Java is having a very low package. Python will eat Java one day. This programming language will do this thing. And then when you ask what is the fact, which company there you okay, you are any referring any resource over there or any please share the resources, please share the data, and then they are blank and they don't share it. So please don't follow any random things. What matters according to me is that you should be good in your programming if you really want to design some really good things, and your code should be optimized. Otherwise, for me, all the programming languages, it's all upon your comfort level.
Just
Well,
want to highlight one more part, Vijesh. Like when I was in my college, I started as usual with which everybody did, C and C++. And I was literally scared of programming because of the syntax, because of the pointers. The moment I used to see pointers, I used to close my book, I used to close the notes, and I have given that I will never learn programming, even though I'm a software engineer from computer science. But I was very scared of C and C++. But it depends on your trainer, or I would say teacher. So one of my teacher, like Sahil Khan, he started teaching me Java, and from Java I picked up my career. Okay, so it's not about the first language that you choose. Sometimes it happens you picked up the bad programming language, you got scared, and then you have always fear of programming, that you can never learn programming and you will never start. You might go to maybe some DevOps, maybe you will go with some Scrum Master role into different area. But sometimes people get scared because of the first experience. So I just want to recommend that if you are having the fear of programming, go because of the first experience. Try one more language. Okay, so start with maybe if Naveen, you can relate, right? And Vijesh, you also C++ not that easy for the beginners. Now, if you see for the Python and Java, that's a different way to go. But yeah, give one more chance to another programming language and start your career again. If in case if you have fear of programming.
well, I can certainly relate to it, Mukesh. In college, C++, of course, was was in the curriculum. So obviously we did that, but then I was always skeptical whether this is going to help me or not. And then of course we encountered Java, and I also had the fortune of getting learning Java with a very good teacher at that time. It was 20 years ago, but then got started with the basics and then found that it is very easy. And then later on in my career, when I had to learn C++ again from an embedded software perspective, because I had to test and build test strategies and stuff like that for that. So switching back was much easier because the confidence that Java gave me,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I had that idea. And obviously learning about the object oriented concepts made life easy with C++ as well. So then something like Python, when it came along, obviously like you said, when you see the code, you can't make head or tail out of it. Okay, but then understanding what the concepts are, I think you are able to relate to it much easily. So you're absolutely right in terms of the response. Now, like I was saying, I want to go to the career part of things. Okay, so so I learned programming language. Okay, I learned Java, I learned Selenium, and everything like that. But I don't have any experience whatsoever, hands-on experience. Okay, I've learned Selenium with Java from YouTube, from some websites. I don't have any hands-on experience. What do I say in the interview? Naveen?
Yeah, that's a regular question. I always like get almost daily basis that yeah, and I don't prefer people who actually don't encourage these people. And in fact, at the time of interview, also that's perfectly fine. That person can do much better as compared to the people are already having experience in Selenium in Java. That I have seen. I have already seen that. Selenium or whatever, Selenium, Java, or any test automation tool, it's an art. How exactly you are saving some time and how exactly you are converting your those boring, tedious test cases into automation so that we can save some manual efforts over there. That's very important. If you have already seen such things while doing practice or while learning things from YouTube or courses or whatever, so you practice in such a way, you pick some really good complex application, try to do as much as practice so that if people you can justify your experience at a time of interview. If someone is asking the question, okay, tell me about your design, how will you do that? Tell me that how will you set up your Selenium grid on Dockerized containers on AWS? You should know that. It's all about the practice. If you're doing practice properly, you can justify your experience. And if you can justify, definitely you can do good things in your job. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, you might not have experience because you have not seen the real-time automation projects, but that's okay to know that. Nobody is learning from the beginning itself. So better you go and then try to learn from initial 3 or 6 months, and then you are on the on the same page that people are already doing it, and you can do much better than that. So please, I would always say that, okay, please, that try to encourage these people. Someone has to start from somewhere, right? We all started like that only. Frankly speaking, I did not work on QTP initially. I was just a if you see my career starting, I was like so frustrated with testing. I was doing only content testing, Brijesh, that my manager used to give me 100 websites, and I just needed to open that, and some link validator tool was there, and that tool was like really horrible. It was not giving you proper results, and I used to click on each and every link, and I just need to check it's giving you 404 or not. That's my job. Do you think so? Okay, I can justify my software engineering thing. And I was really, really frustrated with the testing profile initially. And then I thought, okay, let me try to, other things. Then I tried to learn with QTP from that time. Some few blogs were there, some good books were there, like Tarun Lalwani and such people were there. And then I met few people in Noida, and then I got to know, okay, how exactly QTP works. And then I cleared some really good interviews after that. And I clearly told them that, okay, see, this is my scenario, but you give me scenario, I'll try to do that, and I'll try to justify that, okay, yeah, I can work with that. And the moment the first company I joined in Pune, that is SunGuard Fidelity, and I became the first QA automation in QTP architect over there within 1 year. So that was like a great thing. And then I always appreciated, okay, yeah, I learned and implemented a thing. So that is, I think, if I can do it, anyone can do it. That's not a big problem.
Well, that is extremely humble of you, Naveen, to say that. Well, Mukesh, you want to add something to that one?
Yes, yes. So, just want to add, like as you mentioned, we don't have real-time experience. So when you say real-time experience, it means it is just you have not worked in the company. That maybe that company has not given you a chance, or maybe did not get a time to automate your office application. That's all. Still, you can automate every single web application. You can set up everything which is running in your company. Maybe it's setting up the Docker container, setting up VM, setting up Jenkins, right? The complete setup you can set up in your complete like in your system as well. So when it comes to real-time experience, nobody's stopping. It is just you are just doing out of the office works. You're not automating office applications, or your internal portals. You're just testing some public application. That's the only difference. I know it's something which we can't replicate, like the proxy issues, setting certificates. Apart from that, rest everything is same here. Okay, so let's say if I'm hiring somebody and one person already worked on Selenium but doesn't know end to end. Other person he never worked on in real time, but he has end to end knowledge and he's better than that guy. I will always go with this guy because he has the guts, he has that fire to learn. That instead of he has not worked on that, but still he knows end to end. So in interviews also, I think personally, if somebody is getting honest, we should give just chance to that guy, and that's what I'm going to do now. I'm learning DevOps. Okay, even though I'm in automation from a long time, in interviews I will be very blunt that this is what my situation I'm learning, and this is what I have learned so far. Let's see how it goes, but this is my personal opinion. Even in DevOps, like you can set up everything. Okay, you can book some AWS EC2 instances. You can set up a complete infrastructure. You can have three different staging, dev environment, prod environment, and you can have the complete infrastructure. And you can implement the CI/CD pipeline. So experience, it is just instead of your company project, you are doing some self project. That's all it matters. So it's good to be little honest in interviews, and I think people appreciate this.
Absolutely. I could not agree more, Mukesh. In fact, when you talk about automation, And correct me if I'm wrong, Mukesh and Naveen. Automation is not just limited to test execution. You
Yes.
spoke about setting up the test environment, generating test data, setting up your reports, streamlining a process within the organization. All of this is automation. And I remember your Tester Speak interview, Mukesh, where you shared an experience where you automated the entire process of email response,
Yes. Yes.
where somebody had to look at the emails and then respond, and you automated that.
Yes.
And I think that organization is still using it,
Yes.
the way you implemented it. So that is also automation for you. So it is not just limited to particular test automation per se. That's my thing, right, Mukesh?
Yes, correct. So yeah, it's all about not the web scenarios. That's about it can be any automation. Okay. So like Naveen has created that language translator. It is also kind of automation.
Yes.
Recently I created a utility. Maybe on Sunday I will upload a video. What exactly it does? It will capture the complete your screen information every 2 seconds. So after 30 minutes, it will give you a PDF report that what exactly you have done in the last 30 minutes on your screen. It kind of a monitoring for your kids. Let's say that kid is not doing something wrong. Maybe it could be any vulnerable thing which that kid is doing. So that utility will simply run in the background. It will just capture your screenshot after every 2 seconds. It will generate a PDF report. So that is also one automation for you, right? People can sell this as a service as well. So it can be anything which does not require human intervention is a automation. That's all.
Awesome, awesome. And sticking to the career side of things, Naveen, I want to ask
Meanwhile,
you.
you crossed 2,000 subscribers on test chat.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Congratulations, Majesh.
Thank you. Well, on behalf of the Test Chat community, I want to thank everyone for the love and support. Thank you. Well, Naveen, um, I want to switch from a QA to BA. How should I go about it?
Yeah, go for it. If you feel that you are good in getting the requirements from the client and stakeholders, you can talk and you understand the domain very well, like either any domain, either HR or mobility services or financial or fintech or any other domain. If you feel that okay, yeah, because it's a really awesome job, and to talk to different stakeholders and write down all the requirements, prepare the SRS documentation, acceptance criteria, user stories, and everything, and deliver to the engineering team. So you are the bridge between the stakeholders, business, and your engineering team. So if you feel that okay, yeah, you can do this job better than testing, then why not? And QA, the advantage with the QA people is that you are testing the entire system end to end. You are doing the system testing. You know in and out about the system. You know all the scenarios. You have written those test cases and everything. So that's a good thing. Then you feel that, especially in some those old projects where you already spent time 5 years in those projects, and you know the in and out the things. So why not? You should just go for it for the BA or PO profile, and then it's a great, I think, good future. We have been hearing BA from last 10-15 years. People are still working as a BA. In fact, my sister is also a BA, and then she started as a Java developer, and then she moved to completed to BA and PO thing now. There are good certifications are available. Just go for it, and then and if you are happy working with the clients and the stakeholders, getting the requirement from them and deliver in a very precise and very accurate way to the what exactly client and customer wants to the engineering team, I think it's a great thing to have it.
And Majesh, you have a very good communication skills, so I don't think it will be a problem for you.
This is half BA already.
Yes, yes.
Well, well, I asked you this question because I get uh, this question from a lot of people. But if you want to ask me, if somebody were to ask me, I would ask, what's wrong with testing? Why do you want to go and leave testing? That would be my first response. I don't see anything wrong with being a QA. QA has got great future. I mean, until unless people are making things, you will need testers. Okay, and people will not make stop making things till eternity. So testing will be there for eternity. So that's that's how I look at it. But so I want to add another one to that one, and maybe Mukesh, you can answer this. So now we have spoken about BA. Let's talk about the other famous role, Scrum Master. I want to become a Scrum Master, Mukesh.
Okay.
Can I become a Scrum Master from being a tester?
Yes, yes. See, again, Scrum Master, when you talk about, depends. Okay, few companies they generally make people Scrum Master when they have 3 years experience. Some people, some companies they're still not promoted to Scrum Master when they have 10 years experience. So when you talk about Scrum Master, again, I would say yes. Again, it depends. Okay, but if you get a chance, I personally feel that I can become Scrum Master. It is just I have to manage the people. There is actually two friend of mine, they actually stepped down from scrum master to again a team member because they were not able to manage the people. Okay, they were not able to handle the politics because few people were not able to complete the task and they have to report it back. Okay, and again, when it comes to burnt out chart, they have to communicate with the dev team, DevOps team, and QA team. So if somebody can handle this kind of work, then definitely you can go for a scrum master role. Again, not only the Jira. Okay, few people think like Scrum Master is just handle Jira tasks, create stories, create tasks. Sometimes that's not the only role of Scrum Master. You have to be very proactive in all the process that we follow. Okay, whether it's a retrospective or review meeting, everything. So yeah, personally, if you get a chance, experience that role. Okay, I personally like that. And being scrum master is not the only thing you can do. You can parallelly still do the testing. You can still if you're interested in development, you can still play a part in the development role and other stuff.
Naveen, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, from my side, what I feel is that uh, absolutely agree with Mukesh, but the only thing is the Scrum Master that the scope is very limited. First of all, that the scope we have created, especially from the Indian management side, that we everybody wants to follow agile, but we don't want to have a Scrum Master, dedicated Scrum Master. We don't support in their certification. We don't want to support in terms of establishing for the a complete agile environment for the team. If you see the latest agile manifesto, they have clearly written what is the roles and responsibility of the scrum master, and they have improved and increased the responsibility for the scrum master, that if scrum master is a bridge now between for all the agile events, whatever the retrospective to the sprint planning to the talking to the stakeholders and creating an environment within the team, within the engineering team and the entire product team, where we can deliver the best thing to the number of iteration to the customer and to the client side on the production. This is a role of a scrum master. If he follows such things and management is ready to agree with that, what I seen in the pandemic, that the first person who is losing the job is a scrum master. Frankly speaking, I'm not making it out. I have seen people in my previous company. We were having around 10 scrum master and everybody left because of this thing, because we felt that okay, yeah, what we don't have any good role for you. What, why should we take you, and then why should we continue with you? So I think you should start a career. Getting QA to Scrum Master, I think, according to me, it's degrading the profile. If you're really good and doing great, and then according to me, but if you are okay with that and happy to make sure that okay, yeah, and but yeah, you should always check the background of the company, background of the management. They are still like supporting the agile stuff, the so-called agile. Most of the people, they are not sure about it. Okay, what is agile and Scrum? Agile is not about using Zira and having the 15 days of a sprint. It's not about only agile and Scrum. So you should, if you understand your management, understand that philosophy, and then you can see a good future. But again, the problem is that what about the next role? What will you do after that? That is the main thing, because you are just between a PO and the stakeholder and the engineering team. You are not a decision maker here. You cannot give your input in terms of engineering design and the platform designing things. You cannot push that okay, yeah, this is what I have to do in terms of product delivery. You are just a bridge, as a communication bridge between these two entities. So I think that is like slightly, I feel that okay, it's a somewhere limited thing for a QA to get into that the scrum master role.
Yeah.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. But as Brijesh mentioned, if somebody is moving from QA to Scrum Master, so apart from Scrum Master, they can also contribute now since they have been into QA. So they can contribute as much they can from the QA perspective as well because they have a bigger picture as a QA. But yes, you will not get that much time that you can contribute in all the areas.
So a counter question to that, probably to Naveen's response is, what if Scrum Master is a way towards becoming a product owner or a manager?
Yeah, you can do that. I have seen people, they are moving because they got to know. I have talked couple of people in my previous companies because luckily I was having really good environment. People were following agile properly and everything, but still they could not survive as a scrum master, and they moved to. I have seen in my previous company that Germans are really, really good in, in terms of following the process and methodologies. They are like
Yes.
really, really good in that case. I have seen the proper methodology, the proper documentation, everything they follow each and everything properly, and that's why they hire experts over there. They hire PhDs over there. And
Yes.
then when I talked to them under people working as a scrum master, they were like saying the same thing, that okay, I don't see a next role. So what exactly they did, that they moved to BA or maybe the PO profile, because they understand the product now, they know the stakeholders, and the communication is good in terms of getting the things and everything. So if you are having that capability, definitely you can do that. It's not about manager thing. It's not about that. Okay, yeah, manager is a different terminology, I would say, to to empower people and then lead a team over there. But yeah, I think if you having that capability of getting the requirement from the client and deliver to the engineering team in a better way, you can become a PO also, a BA also after that.
Well, I have a slightly different perspective on this one. Okay. Scrum Master, in my opinion, is a dedicated position. Somebody who, as the term says, he's a master of Scrum ceremonies. Somebody who understands Scrum very well is able to facilitate. You know, this was there in the first, the you know your Scrum guide, and it has been modified further to a bigger, broader role in the new one that was launched last year. So until and unless you understand Scrum properly, and if you have good insights into it, I think it's a very uh, uh, half-hearted statement to say that, okay, I want to become a Scrum Master, because just
Correct.
because you see that, okay, a Scrum Master is probably a chilled out guy, just administering Jira, and can go home at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and is doing nothing else. And in most companies, the way it is implemented, suddenly a project manager is made a Scrum Master. So you may see, oh, that guy has decision making powers also. So don't go by the incorrect implementations of the Scrum Master role. Go by what it actually
Correct.
is. Okay,
Yes.
that's what is my perspective. Well, I want to ask you this, Naveen, and I've seen a video series that you did on this one. This is called the Star Method. What is the
Hmm.
Star Method, and how can the Star Method help us more in our, in building our resumes, in our interviews? Would you like to elaborate?
Yeah. In fact, that star, not the pattern, not the star patterns, that is not printing on the console. Star full form is that situation, task, action, and result. So people will give you certain questions. These are called behavioral based questions, especially in some really good product companies. Like if you talk about Google, Amazon, Microsoft. In fact, when I went to a couple of interviews for these companies, that time also they asked me, they were having a specific round for that. You are not getting realized that okay, people are asking certain questions. That time I was not very much sure about what is star, but indirectly they were trying to judge me that okay, this person is fit into that particular role, whether within a team or not. So they will give you some situation. On the basis of that, you have to figure out, okay, these are the tasks that I can perform. These are the actions I can do that. And then you have to be result oriented. That, okay, yeah, this is what the result outcome from these things. So people will ask you certain questions, certain situation based or behavioral based questions. I think you should be ready for that. You are really good in these companies, what they do, they are really good in technical and your design and automation or programming and everything or testing and everything. That's fine. But if you are not able to give certain answers for that, especially in the HR or the senior manager round or something, then the people, they might reject you as well, because how exactly you will react in certain situations, that's very important. They will give you certain situations based tasks, and then you have to give all the use cases and the scenarios. Or, okay, this is my opinion. For example, let's see, how would you treat when your manager is saying that, okay, you have to stay late night and then you have a tomorrow release? What will you do? Are you ready to come to the weekend office work or something like this, when you have to learn something from your juniors? And how will you do that? So they really want to check your skills over there, and on the certain basic question they will give it to you. So to perform any basic task also, let's see, how will you execute your 1,000 test cases within 1 day time with one single resource? So this is the situation they have given to you. Now you have to figure it out, what are different tasks and actions you will perform to complete the task and get the result out of it. So that's why this is called so-called star pattern or star-based questions. So I think everybody should know about it. And these days people are following it. Not every company, but good product companies have already started following it. I have already faced certain questions in my career as well.
Well, it is quite common here, at least
Yeah,
in the Netherlands.
exactly.
And in Europe, it's definitely becoming a norm. So I have an idea here,
Hmm.
and let's see if we can do this. So how about the two of you do an interview of me? So I'll be the candidate, okay,
Okay.
and Naveen and Mukesh, you can be the interviewer. Okay, let's say you are looking for a technical architect, somebody with say 10 plus years of experience. Let's see how we can do this from an interviewer perspective and from an interviewee perspective. Let's see if we can demonstrate the star method live. Okay,
Sure.
just go easy on me, guys.
We
I
will,
know you guys are the gurus, but
no, we
just
will
trying
roast
to.
you.
Sorry.
We will roast you, British. You have been doing this since the last 3 months, so
Okay, let's see. Let's see. All right. Yeah. So over to you, Naveen.
uh, right now you want to take? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it
I
live.
thought.
Let's do it live. Let's do it live.
Okay. No, right now. Okay. So I'm not prepared that what to ask to you. Okay, Mukesh, you want to ask something to Brijesh?
See, you're
Like,
in more interviews than me, so
Brijesh, well, let's do one thing. We will have a dedicated session for that.
yeah.
Maybe some live or something that we
Okay.
will do that. Let me prepare some really complex question for you. I know that, okay, you're going to clear it out, but
Complex questions. Okay. So give me a heads up on all those questions so that I can leak those questions. Anyways, no. I just want to add to what Naveen said. Okay, the star method. Naveen has done some wonderful series on that one. Uh, you guys might want to go to his channel and check that out because that's one way of expressing what you have been doing. So whenever you are asked a question, for example, the example question that Naveen gave here was, how would you react if you are asked to learn something from your junior team members, or have you been in a situation where you had to learn something from your junior team members? So when that situation is given to you, okay, and so there are two ways of dealing with it. Either if you have not faced the situation, then be upfront and
yeah,
say that no, you have not been in that situation, but you are willing to do that. Okay, be open towards that. The other one would be that you have actually undergone that situation, you faced it. So in that, you have to apply the star method, that is the situation which was there. So you can say that, okay, uh, I was in a situation where we had to learn something about you know automating uh, native apps. Okay, mobile automation of native apps. Okay, which I did not know about because I come from a background where I've predominantly done web testing, and some there were some young testers who knew more about it, and I had to learn about it. So that is the situation. The task was obviously for you to be able to automate the testing for those native apps. So that's what was a task, and the action for that was how you approached it. So you could say that, okay, I went for a one-on-one coaching session with my fellow testers, with the junior testers who had more subject, who would, guide me, give me exercises. I did a few exercises. They would validate the results. They would evaluate from time to time and support me in my learning process. Okay, and then the result of that, that is the R of the star, would be that as a result I was able to build a framework with, of course, with their guidance. So that shows that, okay, you are willing to learn, you have an approach, you are uh, very crisp in answering. So you bring in the star method without actually spelling out STAR out there, but out of that situation you give that answer in that way. And I think so much for doing that series. I was really happy, finally, that somebody has picked that up, because I was watching
So
the
let
mock
me
interview.
ask you, Brajesh.
Sorry.
Let me ask you one question. Let me, if you insist, let me ask you one question. This is your
Okay.
interview. You are a hardcore test automation guy, and
Mhm.
then I'm the manager. I'm taking your interview, and this is your final round. And the question is that, okay, Brajesh, welcome on board, and then you have to join the team. But for next 6 months, we don't have any automation work for you. We don't have any
Mhm.
budget. We don't have any time. We don't have any, preparation for the automation for next 6 months. But you have to dedicatedly work with, setting up the testing projects, and then execution of the test cases, writing your test cases, and end-to-end testing. You have to do that, but zero automation work. So
Mhm.
in this situation, how will you handle it? This is the
Well,
question I always like. People always ask me that. I'm really frustrated. I'm not getting any automation work. For 6 months, it's happened that, okay, I'm not getting anything. 3 months happened that, okay, they promised me to do some automation work, but I'm not getting it. So how will you react in this case now?
well, thank you, Naveen, for asking me that question. I have, in fact, been in that situation a few times in the past, and it is sometimes very easy for us to get daunted by such a situation. And but then my approach towards it is very simple: to look at what tasks are at hand, to understand first of all what can I do with my skills to improve the process, to make sure that I support with my knowledge the team in building up, the test cases, the test scenarios, the test strategies. Okay, and at the same time keeping my eyes and ears open for opportunities of automating. It may not be there now, but 6 months down the line I may have it. Just to give you an example, when I was working with a client who was dealing with large scale storage devices, I was at the task of managing the team, and we had no scope for automation. Whereas, I my skill set had test automation, and in fact, I was also asked to handle performance testing responsibilities. So there was one way of looking at it, that, okay, I may focus on my performance testing opportunities. However, at the same time, I knew that there was an ample opportunity of improving the process. There was a lot of gaps that I was able to identify in the testing process, in the test cases that were written, the way requirements were being managed, the way those requirements were being translated into test cases. So I paired up with my fellow testers, built the test strategy, uh, actioned into writing better test cases, making sure that we provide better traceability and more coverage in terms of requirements coverage, analyze the risks, make sure that we provide better risk coverage in terms of the test cases that we have. And side by side, I made sure that I built up on my performance testing abilities right from the scratch. As a result of all this exercise, within 2 months, we had a much more robust set of test cases, a bigger regression suite, um, um, with a greater coverage, and we were in preparation for bringing in automation through small scripting changes that we had been doing in trying to achieve our goals. We may not have used any tools as such, but we use simple scripts to, for example, do simple tasks such as rebooting machines, or making sure that the reports are collected, or even tasks such as generating test data. So while the management did not have an absolute automation project as such, but we made sure that our skills are utilized to the best. So yeah,
Yep.
that's
That's an excellent answer, Rajesh. That is like comes from your experience. Clearly looks at the way you use the language and everything. It's absolutely fine, right, Mukesh? Like
Yes,
this is like a
and
very nice answer.
that's not the only answer. It's actually a situation nowadays. Like if you see the chat, Nancy Bharadwaj, she was asking the same question like before you asked this question, and this happened like people will give you this situation upfront, that even if you don't get automation task in future, will you be able to join, and what will be your reactions to that? So that's what is happening right now. And what is my like why it is happening? Because see, right now we might not have the automation task, we might not have the automation project as of now, but yes, in management have a future, they have upcoming projects, they already have few things in pipeline which might come after a few months or maybe few years. So they always look for a candidate who have the potential to cover both. They don't want only the guy who has just no experience of automation. So that is the reason this situation happens.
right. So yeah, thank you, Naveen, for asking that question, for putting me on the spot, for making me think. You know, one advice that I would like to give, and I'm sure that both these gentlemen on the screen will also agree, is that we should do such mock sessions, mock interviews from time to time. We have friends, we can do it with them. You can ask your friends to take your interview, put across a sample question for you. All of a sudden, whether you are preparing for an interview or not, it
Correct.
doesn't matter. Only when we are looking for a job change, that's the only time when we say, oh, let me ask Naveen, how do I handle this, or let me ask Mukesh, what should be the answer for this. Okay, don't do it at that point in time. Keep practicing. Okay, not because you are giving an going to give an interview, but because you want to make sure that your knowledge is up to date, you have the right information, and you are well versed, or you are working on your communication skills from time to time. And now that you've learned a little more about star method, try and analyze, try and understand what it is. Like I said, watch the series on Naveen's channel. Talk to him, talk to Mukesh, talk to Raghav. I can help you. There are a lot of other people who can also help you with regards to that. Talk. Okay, and don't wait for that date of your interview to start preparing. Okay,
Yes.
that's what I would suggest. Now, I have a, a question with regards to the scope of automation and stuff like that. So we've seen UI automation. People are talking about API automation, automation you know for unit testing, and then also for managing the DevOps infrastructure and stuff like that. Where are we going with all this, Mukesh?
Okay. See, when we say again UI, mobile, API, infra automation. Okay. So first of all, don't start blindly. If you talk about DevOps, then definitely DevOps have a different level of automation. It does not include your, web UI most of the time. It will mostly deal with the APIs, okay, and your infra automation. But when you do automation at the automation perspective, like, see, as a developer, you will be doing the unit testing. That's a different thing, and maybe a few integration tests. But as a tester, it's your responsibility to test the application as a user perspective, right? You will be testing on the mobile devices, you will be testing on simulators just to save some time. You will be testing on the web, and you will be also doing some API testing. So first of all, stick to your role. That what kind of automation is your, what kind of requirement you have. Then, if you have a chance and if you have an API exposed, okay, my higher preference nowadays goes for API automation, then web, and finally the mobile automation. So mobile automation have its own challenges where you have to set up the test lab, you have to manage the devices, you have to manage the devices with the different versions, and again the stability which comes with mobile automation. That's again a big challenge over there. But when it comes with time, it has been improved. Now test automation on mobile, it's stable. Okay, but when it comes to coverage, stability wise, and I will say coverage wise, API testing, then web, and finally mobile. So automation is applied in every field. It is just depends on role. Okay. And again, if you talk about non-performance, sorry, performance testing again, right? If you are into non-functional, then definitely you have security, you have performance. So again, it depends on the scope. You have to decide which kind of automation you want to perform.
Right. So, Naveen, you want to add something?
Yeah, I think I totally agree with Mukesh in that case. So I would advise that every level of automation is important, but the maximum coverage, if you really want to do in, if you see the testing pyramid, in the testing pyramid also you see that, okay, the first layer is always unit testing, which has to be written by the developers. You can also contribute over there, but you cannot cover each and everything. Only happy path scenario or maybe some integration test you can write it over there. But when you talk about the API level, just behind the UI layer, you can get as much as coverage over there in terms of all the important business use cases and everything, that your APIs and your integrations are working fine. You can mock the services and then check your all the responses are absolutely fine or not, especially in some really complex application like e-commerce or enterprise level application. When you talk about and fintech and mobility services, you can check that. Do not rely everything on the UI part, and then do the happy path scenarios, very high level regression automation test cases through the UI automation. Then I think it's a right fit. What people they do, that they just do the opposite thing. They don't write the unit level test cases. They don't cover API level test cases. Everything they just try to do with the Selenium, and then they claim that, okay, yeah, we have covered 80% Selenium automation, and XPath is not working, CSS is not working, locator issue, navigation issues, browser compatibility issues. It's not the issue with the application, it's a problem with your framework. And you are always in the loop for next 1 year also. You are still maintaining the framework. You are not leveraging your automation framework properly. The money is also wasted. There is no return of investment on that. If you really want to get a good ROI, start writing and enforce as a QA guy that, okay, yeah, every developer has to write the unit level test cases. Why QA didn't talk to manager? You should give the advice to the engineering manager and the dev team or dev lead, and that why I won't accept that particular build if you don't have any unit level test case or SITs. Show me your SITs, show me your unit level test cases, show me your all the Zira and get branches for that. If you don't have that, I'm not going to test it. I'm not going to accept the build. Your build is totally shitty, and then I cannot test it. I cannot even execute. I cannot even log in. Your APIs are totally, absolutely not working fine. And then a lot of negative scenarios are not working. Where are your test cases? So you have to adopt that attitude to, improve the unit level test cases, and then go with your API level. And then the minimal amount of work if you see in the pyramid, the API, the UI portion should be very less in that case.
And most of the bugs you will find at the API level. Okay.
Exactly.
Most of
Yeah.
the UI just cosmetic bugs you will find, some button layout, texture. That's all. If APIs are working fine, chances are very less you will be getting issues in the web.
That's a very important point you bring in, Mukesh. So I have a question. Okay, and mm, this just struck to me. Instead of testing the APIs, how about testing the API design? What do you think?
Mukesh, you want to?
No.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when you
So API. Yeah. Sure. Please go ahead. Go ahead.
Brajesh, are you talking about the mock APIs?
Yep. So as you're building up, so when people are writing those APIs, they obviously build certain mocks, they do certain designing, right? So how about starting your testing at that level itself, rather than waiting for the API to be built completely and then you start testing. That's what I'm trying to ask you.
Yeah. So when it comes to mock APIs, it's good if your system is not integrating with the different applications. Okay, you can do the mock testing, but the main challenges comes when we integrate multiple services or multiple APIs. That's where the real challenge is, the real bugs that we find. So yes, if you have the applications or the APIs which is independent for the yes, you can write few test cases and you can write few API tests which is parameterized. So tomorrow something is changed, you just change the parameters and all your API tests are ready. But when it comes to the integration, we need the real APIs in that.
Naveen, you want to
I
add
would like
something?
I would like to add one thing here that see, mocking and all such things easily we can do that these days. A lot of if you see the underlayer, we have the microservices architecture, and then a lot of tiny services are there, and it's not like all the services are up and running and all the services are ready to be implemented. So, but you have to fulfill your automation and you have to write your test cases. So, better mock those APIs, get the fake JSON response or XML response, whatever that service has to be supposed to be delivered to you, and then mock it. These days, if you see the distributed system environment where all the services are totally dependent on each other. For example, let's see, take an example of Uber app, or take an example of any mobility services or Amazon or any e-commerce application. My order management is totally dependent on the user management. User management is dependent on category management. Category management is dependent on product management services, and they are working separately in different time zone, different location, different system, different architecture, different tech stack. So there are a lot of dependencies on these systems. So if you create some mock services over there to cover end-to-end scenarios, let's say I'll call the product services, I'll get the product, then only I can fulfill my fulfillment services like that. So here you can create some mocking services. There are certain tools and frameworks are available. You can start developing those things. This is what I think it should be started at the DevOps with the support of DevOps along with the dev level. At the dev level with the unit level test case designing, we have to start with that, and automation plays a very important role here. You can certainly, definitely, you can do that. And you never know that API in some projects, UI is not even there. There is no UI. You just need to expose my API as a consumer. I'll give you as a producer. So there is a consumer producer model will happen, and then you just expose it. I don't have any API to. I don't have any UI to expose. You just get my API. These are the 5 important APIs, and then you do it whatever you want to do it. Like for example, payment APIs or any payment gateway APIs or UPI APIs. I don't have any UI for that. You just need to call my APIs and then mock it on the lower environment and fulfill your text execution things.
So just to follow up on that question, Naveen, uh, how important do you think is to develop an understanding of how the APIs are actually implemented, whether you have a monolithic architecture or whether you have a microservices architecture? How important do you think it is important for a tester to see how your product is being implemented?
See, when you have a distributed environment and then you have a lot of subsystems are working together, you are not working in a monolithic environment. Especially, for example, we have one single application which is up and running all the time. We have good user base, but we have limited features. We are not distributed environment. But let's talk about let's see mobility services or Zoom car, or let's see Uber app or Ola app or e-commerce Amazon application, which is like heavily dependent on the microservices. In that
Right.
case, I cannot go with the
Facebook,
monolithic environment.
Facebook,
Facebook,
Facebook.
exactly. Exactly. So I cannot go with certain architecture, but it's not. I'm not saying monolithic is really bad or something. There are still applications. Stack Overflow is on monolithic, and Wikipedia is also still on monolithic. And but services like Netflix, services like Amazon, services like Uber, they are heavily dependent on microservices. So as a tester, I should understand the architecture, that how exactly these services are interacting with each other, and top of that, do we have the API clients available or not, and then how exactly I'm going to call these services and getting the response from them. So that's why like mocking and all such things will come into the picture. The API contract testing will come into the picture. Schema validations will come into the picture in that case. So we have to validate all those schemas and everything. Schema and the contract should not be broken in that case. It's a big violation that you are doing in terms of API testing. If someone is breaking it means that you are challenging the distributed environment in that case. I'm passing 5 parameters, and suddenly I have add one more Boolean parameter in my response, and you are not able to consume it. You will get a null over there and start getting the null pointer exception on your site. It is down now. Your search is not working at all in that case.
Yeah.
So this is something we, as a tester, we have to validate that.
Well, that was a very detailed answer, Naveen. While Mukesh joins, I have another question for you. And this one is a question that a lot of people, at uh, 10 to 12 years of experience range have. How do I become a test architect?
Yeah, the test architect is, I think, very responsible job. And what I feel that that is what, like, I think we discussed last time also, Brijesh, that uh, after 8 years, 10 years, you should think about it where exactly you want to go. If you really want to get into the total technical field, then start learning the things, start improving your design and system. Try to understand the system. Try to understand the DevOps. Take an example of Srinivas, right? That he actually did it really well. He learned all the different DevOps activities and everything, and then he's advising other people, and then set up the complete environment in the team, and then doing a POC. You should be having that sense now, that level of maturity, that okay, yeah, you give me the tool that or give me the kind of requirement in terms of automation or setting up the environment or CI/CD or DevOps and everything. I should be able to do that because now I understand those things. I have that level of maturity. I have that experience now. It's not like immediately I after 5 years I want to become a test automation architect or something like this. No, you should understand the performance engineering very well. You should understand the system, and you have to behave like an architect, where who can design the things, who can advise you that okay, this is the best design pattern we can follow, best design architecture that we can follow for this particular situation, for this kind of application. We have to follow certain tech stack or certain tools, technologies available in the market. This is not the good fit for certain application, but for mobile application we have to use this. How to set up your device lab and everything, and mobile automation lab, certain things. I think that level of depth knowledge you should have it. I'm not saying that how exactly, what are different ways of clicking on a button using Selenium. Nobody's expecting that. That's okay if you don't know that. After 10, 15 years, obviously you are not doing that level of micro things, right? That we have estates are available for that. But you should know at very high level what are different trends available in the market, what is going on in the market. Join conferences, be a test speaker, and then participate in certain things, and then and then advise the best thing to the team.
Well, I like that response because a lot of people I see that they want the next position or they want a job switch, but they don't prepare well enough for that job switch.
Mhm.
Okay, to get to an architect position, you must understand what the duties of an architect is, and at least have some sort of, or at least some level of hands-on knowledge of what that is. For example, you mentioned a couple of things. Understand design, understand architecture. Okay, if you have gone on and built a design, or if you have gone on to build an architecture, then you would know exactly what the problems could be, what are the challenges, and how do you get past them. So, a lot of testers, when they say, "Oh, I'm going to switch, I'm looking for a change," my question is
Hmm.
simply, are you prepared for that change? Do you have that right skill set? I mean, in the job description, there'll be 10 things mentioned. Okay. Are you confident that all those 10 things you have tried your hands on and you say, okay, I can do this? Or is it just the money that you're after?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely right. Exactly. The money and position, fine, you will get it. You can clear the interviews, but when you see the real-time projects, when you go there, it's difficult. It's not like, still I feel that okay, difficult to become a test automation architect. You should know in and out, and then you should be able to debate with your tools and technology, tech stack, whatever you have in your bucket. You should be, I think, discuss with the development team and the architect team over there. So if you have that caliber, then you have to certify that okay, yeah, I am a test automation architect. If you don't have that, let's not go behind the tagline.
So we spoke about money and stuff like that, and that brings me to a very interesting question, and I'll throw this to Mukesh since he's back. Mukesh, I have three job offers.
Mhm.
Which one should I pick? Can you help me?
Okay. All having the same package?
No, all
Okay.
three having different packages.
Okay. See, for me, there's so many different factors actually matters a lot. So money factor, I will keep it last. For me, first thing matters is my work-life balance. Okay, that if generally we'll get to know because we have a good connection with the LinkedIn and through. friends are working in the same company. So first of all, I will check the work-life balance. Okay, if I can see that able to maintain my work-life balance, that is my first priority. Second is the role. Okay, and if my current role is matching with my previous experience, that is my second criteria to select for. And third is the last, the money part. Okay, apart from money, there are so many other factors, right? Like additional perks that we get. Based on that, I decide. So if you ask me the three different companies, I have three offers. So the first thing, work life balance. Second is my role, and then I will see for this. So if I see some minor changes, based on that I will filter these companies and I will decide. So Naveen also have a very good video on this, I guess, 1 month back. So I don't feel much confusion when I have multiple offers. For me, it's very straightforward work-life balance, because I have to maintain my YouTube channel as well. I have to maintain my other stuff, which people don't prioritize, right? So again, if people have, like, somebody is single, he doesn't have much responsibility, then yeah, he can go for a company who pays high, but they don't maintain work-life balance. But for me, money comes second, work-life balance is important, keeps the most part. So it's again depends on individuals. So Naveen might have different priority, you might have a different priority. So it's totally dependent on individual choice.
Naveen?
Yeah, for me, absolutely agree with that. Money is always secondary, frankly speaking. But the first thing is that I want to be surrounded with the really good people, where from them I can learn. I don't want to join a company where like the environment is not good and then learning people are not having that thing, that aura to learn the new things. And the work-life balance is very important to me. I don't want to travel. I don't want to, stuck in the meeting 11 o'clock in the night daily basis. I don't want to do that. If this is the culture companies are following and the weekend culture, and then you have to come, then micromanagement, such things. A small company is giving me 10 lakhs, another company is giving me 20 lakhs which is making my life really horrible. I don't prefer that. I'm happy with the small amount of money. That is absolutely fine. I want a healthy lifestyle, good working lifestyle, and I can do such things also. So for my priority, again, the work-life balance and the good learning things should be there. I need to be surrounded with really good people. Otherwise, it's totally wasted of next 1 year and 2 years. Otherwise, for me.
And the funny part, even though you will see a difference like 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 13 lakhs, right? If you talk about enhanced and it matter of 3 to 5 thousand or max 7 to 8 thousand, that's all. Only the difference you will be getting. It
Yeah,
looks
see, if you should always see the long term. Today, you are not getting enough time. The management is not encouraging you just because of they're giving you money because they got funded, and you are doing some boring stuff. You're not learning anything, and they don't have any process to implement. And if this is a thing that you are learning, it will not help you for long term. In next couple of years, 4 or 5 years, in a small company, I'm getting really good stuff and maybe less money. That's fine. That is what I always advise to the freshers also. You are getting less money, you are learning the really good thing, okay, with your seniors, with your management is supporting you, and then the project is amazingly good. They are really, some really high good tools and technologies and tech stack they are using it. Just go for it. That's okay. They are giving less money as compared to some big shots. Just go for it. It will help you after 2 years and 3 years when you talk people, when you meet new people, joining a new company and going for some really good interviews. That time you will realize, okay, yeah, this is what I learned from that company. I think that's very important long term.
I want to turn this question around. Now you are hiring. I come to you and I have three offers already. Okay, and I tell you during the interview process that I have three offers. What's your perspective as a hiring manager? Naveen?
Sorry, I didn't get your question, Brijesh.
So I'm just turning the situation around. Okay, so I
Mm-hmm.
am the candidate. I have three offers already, and you are hiring. This is
Hmm.
the fourth opportunity that I have. Okay, and I tell you
Mm-hmm.
during the interview process that I have three offers.
Okay.
So, what is going to be your
Hmm.
reaction and your perspective on that?
Naveen, before you give
First of all,
answer, uh, sorry guys, actually I have some urgent work, so I planned till 9, so I have to leave now. Maybe you guys can continue. We'll connect again.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Raghav, so much for your time. It was fun. We will do a part two because we miss Raghav, so
Yes.
we will definitely do a part two pretty soon.
Yeah,
So
sure, sure.
thank you for that one, and once again, congratulations on 100K.
Thank you so much.
Keep
I'm
sharing
really
your
sorry
knowledge
I'm
and
leaving
keep
between, but
growing.
yes, something urgent I have to do.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, okay.
See you around.
Sure,
But guys,
I'll see you then.
Mukesh,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
Naveen,
yes, sir.
will you? What will be your reaction if I tell you that I already have three offers?
Hmm. See, I won't consider that candidate. First of all, I'll talk to my HR that why first of all it came to me, because we should have asked this question earlier. We should not waste our time already getting a three offer, and then what is the next thing? Why like a fourth offer, and then after that fifth or sixth offer also? That is the kind of chain that he want to follow, and then that I don't prefer that. And what is the guarantee that he will join us? Right, for
Exactly.
me the position is very important. For me the work is very important. I have to get the resource as on within the timeline. I have to deliver the things. As a manager, as an engineering manager, I would consider this fact, and I would happily I would reject that candidate after doing all those deliberations and everything. That okay, fine, that you are already having the three offer, you better decide the best one. And I think for me, I think not a good fit, because you never know that I cannot take a risk here as a manager, that you never know, after 1 month we have released the offer, and after 1 month still we are waiting, and then this person is not turned out, and then he declined the offer. This is what happened couple of times. So in that case I won't prefer that. So in fact, why my HR team entertain that I should not entertain for interview also. It's totally wasting my time and his time also. It's totally not cool to me, according to me.
Exactly. Okay. So when we are looking, we feel very happy that we've got three offers, four offers. It is, we'd like to show it like a badge of honor that look, I've got four offers. So I am really good at cracking interviews. Okay. To a hiring manager, that is a big red sign that you may not
Hmm.
pick up those offers. So understand from their perspective as well before you go for multiple offers. Okay, if and my response to that is exactly the same as that of Naveen. I would not hire that person because I cannot trust. Immediately, I
Yep.
lose trust in that person. Okay, up to two offers, I understand that. Okay, you take one offer, the other one is a backup. But beyond two offers, it is very difficult. Okay, it may happen that okay, when you were giving the interview, you gave the interview, you're waiting for the result, and in the meantime, a couple more got scheduled. That is also done, considered. Okay, but beyond that, it is very very difficult, very very
Yep.
difficult. Now, now let's quickly take into dig into some of the questions from the audience. So there is a question from Satish. I have a scenario where I need to automate communication between mobile devices and a BLE reader. We don't have a simulator for BLE reader. Any inputs or tools on how to go about?
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to handle it. I need to automate communication between mobile device and BLE reader. So what exactly this BLE reader is doing? I would like to know first. And we don't have any simulator for BLE. So yeah, that is, I think, a nice thing to simulate the things in terms of mocking the services. Whatever, see what exactly we did, that we were having some Bluetooth devices which was giving the response directly from the the vehicle, and we cannot test it on site. So what exactly we did, that we created one similar kind of simulator, and then on top of that we created some fake APIs, like fake vehicle or fake mocking APIs, or we will try to replicate those scenarios, which is giving the behavior of the Bluetooth behavior of that, similar in your case BLE reader or something like this, which will give you a JSON response. We will consuming it, and then we were justifying that okay, yeah, our test is important, test cases got passed or failed on the basis of that. And then we were having a dedicated team who will actually go to the site, and then to the near to the car, and then checking that okay, Bluetooth is working or not, something like that. So I think that is my advice, just to mock the services for that, and then start doing it if you don't have any simulator for BLE reader.
Okay, thank you, Naveen, for that. I have another question for you from Abhijit. What does a T-shaped QA engineer mean to you?
T-shape. I think I missed something. What is T-shape QA engineer?
So T-shape is somebody having wider set of skills with a very deep
Okay.
level of knowledge into one
Okay.
area. So it's
So
the shape of a T where you know a lot of
hmm,
technologies.
hmm,
Okay,
hmm,
and
hmm,
then but with your core skill, you have one core
hmm,
skill. For example,
hmm.
testing can be a core skill, but you still know a
Okay.
diverse set of technology.
Yeah, that's I think good. Instead of having full stack QA, so full stack QA, I really doubt that no one can become full stack. It means you know each and everything. You are expert in in testing for each and every layer. Either it is UI, unit, mobile, backend, performance, security. Everywhere you are the master of masters. So in that case, I think no one can become that level of full stack. It's really difficult to achieve that. I never claim myself as a full stack, never, never. But yeah, T-shape, you're making your hands dirty in different tools and technologies, learning new things, try to get to know about the idea about that. Okay, yeah, but my core skills are this one. I'm really good in Selenium. I'm really good in backend. I'm really good in JMeter. But other than that, I know I understand other things as well. So I think that's perfectly fine to become a T-shaped QA engineer. That is what like we should all follow that. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, here's another one: API testing or database testing. Which one is best?
I mean, why this, why this question, Sheena? That both are, we cannot say which one is the best or which one is good or better or bad or something. It's both are important. If you have to do API testing, you have to check your backend, you have to test it, and database testing in terms of whatever database you have, SQL or no SQL database, you have to check the schema validations and everything, the design, and you should know all the basic SQL queries and everything to hit the data, get the responses coming properly, and do some performance data testing also, database testing also through neo load or something. Check that okay, your all the instances are working fine with my Oracle setup, and PLSQL procedures are working fine or not, something like this. And API testing is equally important. They are the main core components for any kind of system. Without a database, you cannot store your data, right? Without API, you cannot communicate between two systems. So both are important to me, I think.
So what? So if Srinath, you're wondering why we both smiled when we saw this question. I mean, this is one of the big challenges that we have within the testing fraternity, that we try and compare the different aspects of testing with each other. We have to understand that there is equal importance of each one of them. They all fit in their place exactly where it should be. And like Naveen just mentioned, that when you are talking about APIs, you are talking about testing the actual interface, and you are testing all the transactions that are happening to the API. But through the API, when you are connecting to the database, I mean, it becomes even more important that you test the database and the interaction with the API. So so it is meaningless to compare one to the other and say, okay, this one is good, this one is bad. A lot of people would bring in UI to this mix and say, oh, UI testing is better or easier or whatever. In my opinion, that is not right, not a right thing to do. So let's avoid such kind of situations. Well, I have this question from Sumit. He's been asking this for a long time, so it's high time that we take this up. For a banking and government projects where data security is of prime importance, how do we justify to the cybersecurity team on open source tools like Selenium, Seculi, APM, and Rest Assured?
See, first of all, we are not. See, these are just a library, Sumit. Selenium, Sikuli, APM, and the rest are short, which are you just need to use those libraries. Now the libraries are available in your premises, in your infrastructure, in your network. You are not sending the data to some other cloud or maybe some Selenium cloud or Sikuli cloud or APM cloud. You are just running it and executing it. Nobody has written, they have not written the code that okay, they will capture some screenshot from your device or from your fintech application to, and they will deploy on some other cloud or something like that. It's not like that. You have to understand about these tools. These are open source, that's fine, but they are not the platform. They are just a library. They are not the cloud platform. They are simple a library. use those libraries. If you talk about rest assured, they will just give you libraries to automate or send the request in the form of for the APIs and get the response, and then you have to validate in TestNG or JUnit or whatever that you want to use that. Same thing Selenium, which will automate the browser, which will tell you the behavior of the web application, and that's it. It's not uploading the data or fetching the data in terms of data security or something like this. Yeah, the problems will come when you start using some cloud vendors, for example Sauce Labs for a browser stack, Lambda test. You're executing your test scenario on their machine, on their cloud, on their simulators. Then you are sending the request to the server, and application is running over there, and you don't want to highlight those important confidential information on their environment, on their cloud, on their simulators or emulators. Then it will be a problem. But these tools are absolutely fine, so you can give the thanks to your cybersecurity team that yeah, it's absolutely fine to use certain tools.
Well, here is another interesting question. What are some good testing competitions and how to find whether they are useful in your career? You have any take on that one, Naveen?
Yeah, there are some challenges. People, they always sometimes you can follow certain challenges, certain as such we don't have any dedicated. I think it's a good advice that someone can start testing competitions or something like this. I'm not talking about testing certifications, but testing a competition somewhere. I'm not very much sure about it. Few years back, Sauce Lab and certain people, they started, and they used to give some prize money or something like that. And here and there, we sometimes we do that, some testing competition or testing challenges. As such, I'm not very much aware of it, Brijesh.
Well, so Tara Shankar, I would recommend you to, if you are not a part of any community, then I would recommend you to join communities. Okay, there are a lot of communities where as a part of their routine, they do host a lot of contests, a lot of competitions. In fact, Naveen is giving us um, a challenge, the coding challenge that Naveen is doing on his challenge. I mean, that's pretty on his channel. That's pretty interesting. There is one from Sanjay for the certification.
Yeah.
I think that is a good one. Okay, and he gave some statistics that only a few people have been able to score 100%. So that's a good thing. And as a
Mhm.
result of it, obviously you learn more about how to use selectors hub and how to get better at it. So that is a good benefit. There are contests that are organized by the test tribe community. You should keep an eye out for
Mhm.
those. There are contests that are organized by the test chat community. You should keep an eye out for those. There is one in the making. We should be announcing one very shortly to be held in May. It is a pure testing contest, so we are looking forward to people participating and learning as a part of those contests, and they are really helpful because they help in your skills as far as analysis, as far as testing, as far as your coding skills are concerned. So they help in a big way. um, let me see if we can squeeze a couple more questions here. I'm looking for some good ones. I see questions repeated. I wanted to do something fun, but unfortunately, Raghav and Mukesh both are not there because in the Tester Speak interviews, all three of you mentioned some very interesting things. Okay, so Naveen, you mentioned that you like to sing, and Raghav, of course, plays the guitar. Okay, and Mukesh, we could have made him sing as well, but anyways, we will do that sometime later. So I want to make this discussion a little light, and I wanted to ask this question to both Mukesh and Raghav as well. But I will ask you. So in your journey as a YouTuber, you've been interacting with a lot of people, a lot of subscribers, a lot of people in general. Can you remember the funniest conversation that you had with somebody?
Yeah, every day there is a lot of fun comments are coming, and then people are like really crazy
So any
sometimes.
any
And
experience that you would like to share?
yeah, funny, emotional, everything. People criticized also, a lot of criticism I faced, and still like we we all are facing. But a funny incident that I think the funny part actually happened yesterday only. That I met Mukesh actually yesterday evening, and that we just came out of the Uber app, and we both were standing over there, and one guy he actually said, standing over there, and then just next to me, and then he said, okay, hey, are you Naveen Khureta from Naveen Automation Labs? And I was wearing my mask. So he could not recognize me, but I don't know, that somehow he got it. That okay, Mukesh was also standing next to me and he was also wearing the mask. And then he said, okay, are you Naveen from Naveen Automation Labs? I was like, okay. And then he started praising and then all such things. And then that was a fanboy moment for him. And I was like, okay, yeah. So, and then that was something really good that we both were surprised to see that, okay, yeah, somewhere, someone in Core Bangla, someone recognized us, by seeing us. And then it was really good. So, yeah, that was like recent happened. And a couple of times it happened, okay, people are just, put a funny comment the way sometimes I maybe, are writing the code or using some terminologies while explaining the things. And then maybe sometimes the people always say, okay, like, why are you always use Tom, Lisa and Peter? So why don't you why don't you use some Indian names? So I was like, okay. So yeah, such small things always happens.
That's 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 uh, that's indeed interesting. I mean, interesting to meet your subscribers on the street and just greet them. That's always fun. Well, okay. I missed this question. Sanjay had a wonderful question for me.
Hmm.
He asked me, why should I hire you, Brijesh? And the answer is very simple, because I am British. You should hire me just for that. Okay. So let me see if I can get one last question. Okay. Again, this one is from Sumit, and he asks, should Selenium scripts developed by test engineers be subjected to SonarQube code scan, considering the entire framework within the network, and we are not deploying the build for outsiders to consume?
Yes, of course it is. It is very much needed. It's not about that you are deploying something as a build to the customer or to consume by someone. But what is the product quality? What about the static analysis? Because in with Selenium framework also you are creating one end-to-end framework. You are writing the libraries. You are creating the generic functions, wrappers. You are writing your test cases. So every obviously you have to provide the coverage in terms of code coverage, in terms of static analysis, in terms of how many bugs are there according to SonarQube. Are you verifying and sorry, are you writing the proper variable names and everything? How many duplicate variables or duplicate code that you have written in your files and everything? So SonarQube will give you the complete errors and the vulnerabilities about the framework, and it is totally applicable for Selenium as well whenever you are writing. So it's all about writing just a development code. It's not about you're deploying something on the cloud or sorry, to the production or to the customer. But yes, it is subject to be to implement it with SonarQube. We were actually doing it for our API automation as well as SonarQube, sorry, for mobile as well as for UI automation. And especially when you have the core automation framework, which has to be consumed by different team members in your organization from different projects. So it is your responsibility to give the best framework and the right libraries which will cover all the use cases and everything to the team. So I think SonarQube has to be implemented, or any static analysis tool has to be implemented for Selenium frameworks.
Cool. We'll take one more. Confused between AWS Associate Solution Architect verification. Can you suggest which one to take? So probably this is a certification thing.
Yeah, when I didn't get the question, that even I'm confused that AWS associate is who is actually working as an AWS engineer or as a cloud practitioner over there, and solution architecture verification. What is this? Which solution architecture?
Yeah,
Like
it's a,
solution architect verification, it's like solution
okay. So
architect.
he's saying not verification, certification. So he's confused between an AWS
Okay,
Associate certification versus a solution architect certification. That was a typo. I think he was
Okay, okay,
typing
okay.
on mobile,
Okay,
so
okay.
autocorrect.
Yeah, that's a confused. I think AWS associate certification is the beginner level, and then you have to go with the architect certification. So I think first, if you are really interested in AWS, which is like amazing cloud and then really good tech stack, a lot of things you can do that, and it's very very interesting also. So, what is the confusion? That is my question to you, Satya. That you just go with the associate certification and then prepare for your solution architect certification after that.
Yeah, Satya, and like I said, I mean, it is always a good idea to be a part of communities, because in the test chat community you have, people who have mastered these certifications. There are some people who have like 5 or 6 cloud certifications, so they can guide you better with respect to
Hmm.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
Mahesh M is one person who has a lot of these certification, and he can help you with that.
yes,
His interview is also there on the test chat channel. You can watch it, get connected to him on LinkedIn, and he can certainly help with that. So I think we have 5 minutes remaining, or in fact we have gone over time. But then thank you, Naveen, for sticking around. Any closing thoughts that you want to share?
yeah, definitely. That's my final advice. That through your platform, Brijesh, that still there is a lot of scope of improvement in terms of testing, in terms of tools and technologies that we all are learning. Still, I get that the question people are asking, and then when I create a poll on either LinkedIn or my YouTube channel, people are still like confused. So I think there are a lot of scope of improvement. What I see, in fact, I was talking to Sanjay also, and he also surprised to see the results that people are still not aware of the basic locators, and we are talking about Selenium after 15 years,
Yeah,
and we're talking about the UI automation things and everything, and then we are expert in all such things, but still we are not able to write the basic expert things at all. So these are the small things, and when I see the questions, and it was like really disappointing sometime, but okay, now we have resources, YouTube videos, Udemy courses, everything is there. Please try to utilize that. Do the right learning at the right time with the proper direction. Do not just pick the random things. It will not help you. So
yeah,
I think that is one thing. The second other thing is that what is happening these days, right, everybody is asking about the interview questions for that specific company. So I thought of that, okay, we will talk about it also with Mukesh and with Raghav, but yeah, we could not make it. But people are just learning for the interview cracking these days. They
yeah.
always say, okay, give me 200 interview questions for Selenium in Cognizant or in TCS or Infosys or whatever XYZ company, and then I just want to prepare those 200 or 100 questions, and then I'll go for interviews. Do you really think so that okay, the same question set will be asked at the same time, in the next time from the same people, or maybe the interview panel is different? And to prepare those 100 questions, also you should know the answer. You should know the concepts behind the tool, or behind the tool or technology that you are using it. So I think that is like, please stop asking such things. Better you prepare accordingly, and then if you're ready with the tool, or if you're confident enough, you can crack any interview after that. You don't need any 200 interview questions to crack the interviews.
Well, thank you so much, Naveen. I really appreciate the audience who have hung around despite IPL. I know that IPL is a big
Yeah.
distraction, but despite that, people have hung around, and now they have gone back to watching their favorite teams fighting it out, which is very very good. Thank you, Naveen, for doing this. Especially we did this in collaboration with you. Your support has always been incredible. This whole thing would not have been possible without Naveen's support. He has been phenomenal in doing everything, and it was unfortunate that we could not have Raghav today because he had a lot of internet issues, and Mukesh also had to leave early. But we will definitely do a part two of this, and I am pretty sure that people can join. Thank you for your questions. We will try and answer your questions separately, and Naveen is always there to help us out. Uh, I remember one very important thing, and in fact, it was just announced yesterday. Somebody asked about competitions. So, Mu Olympics 3 is
Yeah.
here. Mulia just announced it, and this is, I think, for UX this time, and
Mm.
uh, and the judge this time is Parimala Hariprasad, who is a big name when it comes to UX testing, and her
Mm.
contribution to UX testing has been big. She is um, a UX program manager with Google now, so that is the kind of judgment that we are going to get. So participate in that competition. Naveen has the experience of judging Olympics too. He can tell you that the level of competition is really good. The prices are really good, and it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, they have really good standards, and I really like that. And they have very systematic things, and then the kind of the support, their backend team, the management team is really good, and the Pradeep is also like always encouraging us. So it was really good thing that we learned through Olympics 1 and 2. That was really great fun, and then they have really good high standards. The competition is really good, and yeah, they have really good prizes and goodies, guys. So just go for it.
And guys, if you are really confused about testing, I would certainly recommend. Let me see if I can get my hands to this. I would certainly recommend you to read this book. Okay, this is Buddha
Buddha
in
in
Testing,
testing. Yeah.
Deep Rajan. Okay, I hope you can see it. This is a fantastic book. You got Pradeep's picture. So read this book, guys. It'll clear a lot of your confusion. Okay, I'm not uh,
Correct.
doing a promotion. Pradeep's book does not need any promotion, but I can only tell you that I have read this book a million times, and every time I read it, it is still fresh. It is still clearing my concepts, and whenever I'm in doubt, I go to this book. So do that. Okay. On that note, I want to thank you, Naveen, for your time. I want to really thank you for all the support. I want to thank the audience for skipping the IPL and hanging in here. Thank you. We meet once again pretty soon with all three of them. I'm sure that the next time we will resolve all the technical issues and we should be able to give you all more time. And until next week, for the next episode of What Lies Beneath, Ask Me Anything. Namaste.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Brajesh and TTC and all the audience. I'll see you and then have a great weekend, guys.
Yeah, have a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Sure. Thanks. Bye bye.